Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Maha-Bharata, Part 1, Chapter 25, Arjuna Goes to Heaven, Part 2. When Lord Shiva left, Arjuna stood for a few moments gazing at the sky, awed by what had just transpired, for he had seen the god amongst all the other demigods. That unknowable deity had even touched him with his own hand. Now Arjuna considered his enemies already vanquished and his ends accomplished. He possessed the irresistible weapon of Lord Shiva himself. Although he could not discharge the Pashupata at human foes, its very possession made him feel invincible. While Arjuna stood absorbed in thought, the demigod Varuna appeared before him, accompanied by the rivers personified and many Nagas, Siddhas, and other lesser gods. Kubera was also in attendance, his body resembling pure gold and seated upon a splendid chariot. Kubera was accompanied by countless yakshas. They stood before Arjuna, illuminating everything with their bodily effulgence. Arjuna also saw in the sky the god of justice, Yamaraj, approaching on his chariot with his mace in hand and flanked by the personified forms of death and time. On a nearby mountain summit, Arjuna saw Indra along with his queen Shachi seated on the back of the celestial elephant Airavata, and they appeared like the rising sun. A white umbrella was being held over Indra's head, and he was surrounded by Gandharvas and Rishis who were eulogizing and praising Indra with Vedic hymns. Arjuna chanted numerous prayers in praise of the gods and offered them fruits and water. And as Arjuna stood gazing in amazement, Yamaraj spoke, his voice as deep as the rain clouds of autumn. Behold, Arjuna, all the world's protectors, the Lokapalas, have come here. We shall bestow upon you divine eyes. O sinless one, formerly you were the Rishi Nara. At the request of Lord Brahma, you have taken your birth as a mortal, and you shall vanquish in battle the powerful Bhishma and the many other fierce warriors headed by Drona. The enemies of the gods, known as the Daityas and Danavas, have taken birth in the world of men. These too shall all be slain in a great battle in which you will play the main role. Thus, your fame on earth shall be eternal. Yamaraj then offered his personal weapon, a celestial mace, to Arjuna. The Pandava received the weapon along with the mantras for hurling and withdrawing it. After that, Varuna gave Arjuna his inescapable Nagapasha nooses. Arjuna also received Kuvera's weapon, the Antardhan, which could baffle and render unconscious even mighty asuras. Then Indra spoke. O subduer of enemies, you shall perform a great work for the gods. Now you must ascend to heaven. There I will give you my own weapon and other irresistible astras belonging to the celestials. My chariot, driven by my servant Matali, will soon carry you there." The Lokapalas then vanished, leaving Arjuna alone. And as he looked up, Arjuna saw what appeared to be a second sun gradually increasing in brilliance in the sky. The whole region vibrated as the radiance increased. Arjuna now realized this was Indra's chariot descending to earth. The chariot was huge, and it was drawn by 10,000 celestial horses of greenish and golden hue. Matali, in golden armor, was holding the reins. As the chariot approached, Arjuna could see upon it innumerable swords and maces, as well as all kinds of missiles. Axes, darts, lances, and spears of every kind were placed all around the chariot. Celestial thunderbolts and brilliant lightning bolts glowed from its sides. Huge-bodied, fierce Nagas with fiery mouths were seated on the chariot, along with great silver cannons furnished with wheels and capable of sending celestial missiles a vast distance. Arjuna then saw Indra's dark blue flagstaff, known as Vijayanta, standing in the middle of the chariot, as straight as a bamboo and as tall as a great palm tree. The chariot then halted, and Matali stood before Arjuna. Bowing low, he said, "O fortunate one, I have been instructed to take you to Shakra. Your father, encircled by the celestials, rishis, Gandharvas, and Apsaras, wishes to see you in heaven. Lord Shiva has also ordered me. Now ascend this chariot and come to the heavenly regions." Arjuna again bathed for purification, then offered prayers to Mount Mandara. "O King of mountains, you are the refuge of pious sages seeking heaven. You have sheltered me, and I have lived here quite happily. So I offer you my thanks and bid you farewell." And with that, Matali led Arjuna to a flight of crystal steps leading up to the chariot. Matali urged the steeds which drew the chariot with the speed of the mind high into the sky. As they entered the celestial regions, Arjuna saw thousands of wondrous chariots carrying shining beings of great beauty. Arjuna saw kings and warriors who had been slain in battle and had thus attained effulgent celestial forms. And as they moved along the paths of the gods, Arjuna saw Siddhas, Charanas, Rishis, Guyakas, and Apsaras. The region glowed with the brilliance born of the ascetic merits of such beings. Amazed, Arjuna inquired into their identities, and Matali replied, "O son of Kunti, these are pious persons, stationed in their respective spheres. You have seen their shining abodes from the earth as stars in the firmament." The chariot then passed through the gate of Indra's region, where Arjuna saw Airavata, the great white elephant with 4 tusks. The elephant resembled Mount Kailas with its 4 summits. Passing through divine regions meant for pious men who had performed great sacrifices and asceticism, at last they arrived in Amaravati, Indra's capital city. With wide open eyes, Arjuna gazed upon the astonishing city. Flowers from all seasons bloomed simultaneously, and there were groves of sacred trees. Fragrant breezes moved among their golden leaves, creating cascades of brilliant light. Countless mansions and palaces stretched out into the distance. Arjuna also saw the famous Nandana gardens in which the gods would sport with apsaras. Seeing Arjuna's amazement, Matali said, "Those who turn their backs in battle can never see this place. Neither can those who are wicked-minded or who have not performed sacrifice, who have not abstained from liquor and meat, who have not bathed in holy rivers, nor given charity to brahmanas. None of them ever reach this abode." As they proceeded through the city, Arjuna beheld celestial vehicles traveling simply upon the will of the occupant. Gandharvas and Apsaras eulogized Arjuna as he passed. Arjuna heard the sound of celestial music and thousands of conchals and drums. Arjuna entered Indra's magnificent assembly hall and met with the Sadyas, Maruts, Vishvadevas, and twin Ashvinis. Arjuna also saw the Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, and many royal saints headed by King Dilipa. And Narada Rishi was also present, along with the Gandharva leader, Tumburu. So after offering his respects to the assembled personalities, Arjuna approached his father, the king of the gods. At this time, Indra was seated beneath his white umbrella and was being fanned by golden-handled and perfumed chamara whisks. Many pure brahmanas praised Indra with hymns from the Rig and Yajur Vedas, and the Gandharvas and Charanas played celestial instruments of all descriptions just for his pleasure. Now Arjuna prostrated himself before his father, who got down from his throne and embraced him. That thousand-eyed Indra took Arjuna by the hand and led him back up the flight of golden steps to his bejeweled throne. Indra then had his son sit next to him on the throne, where Arjuna shone just like a second Indra. And with his perfumed hand, Indra affectionately stroked Arjuna's head. And out of love, Indra gently patted and rubbed Arjuna's arms, which were like gold columns. Indra gazed without satiation, looking at Arjuna's face. Seated together on the throne, Arjuna and Indra appeared like the sun and moon together in a clear sky. Indra then gave Arjuna the celestial sight to actually perceive Amaravati's divine beauty. That city was unimaginably opulent. Arjuna looked around at the numerous effulgent rishis who sat reciting sacred texts from the Vedas. Groups of Gandharvas, headed by Tumburu, sang hymns in voices which entirely captivated the mind. And as they sang, Apsaras performed exquisite dances, full of gestures and sidelong glances. They shook their breasts and moved their broad hips. The celestials offered Arjuna sacred arghya and then washed his feet. Upon Indra's command, Arjuna was then escorted to Indra's palace. Arjuna took up residence there, while Indra instructed him in how to use celestial weapons, especially the irresistible thunderbolt weapon, Vajra, and Indra's powerful lightning flashes. However, although living amid splendor and opulence such as this, still Arjuna could not forget his brothers in the forest, and he longed to return to them. Whenever he thought of his brothers, he also remembered the circumstances which had brought them to the forest. And he also remembered Shakuni, Dushashan, Duryodhana, and Karna. Arjuna had no peace of mind. And as he was now equipped with one powerful weapon after another, Arjuna could only think of the inevitable battle which would take place in the future. No one would be able to stand against him now. Those wicked-minded men would be punished, Draupadi would be avenged, and Yudhishthir's kingdom would be recovered. When Arjuna had become adept at using all the weapons, Indra spoke to him. Now you should go to your friend Chitrasena and learn singing and dancing from him. Chitrasena can teach you such music that does not exist in the world of men and is known only to celestials. This knowledge will prove useful to you in the future. Trust me. Thus, Arjuna learned the Gandharva skills. Arjuna did not know why Indra had requested him to study such subjects, but he was sure that Indra could see by divine intelligence that such knowledge would surely be helpful in the future.